Welcome to Jesse Waters Prime Time. Tonight,
Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
closing arguments in the trial of the century.
You are gangsters!
The Biden campaign is blowing it.
Stop it. Stop it. Your poll numbers are not good. You're old.
The effects of climate change are already upon us in terms of our transportation. Indications that turbulence is up by about 15%.
They're closing arguments just wrapping up in President Trump's trial, and if he comes out and talks to the cameras, we'll bring those comments to you. There's an old cliche in criminal psychology: the criminal always returns to the scene of the crime. And after telling us repeatedly they had nothing to do with prosecuting their rival, the Biden campaign this morning returned to an active crime scene. The sub-zero Manhattan courthouse, where Democrats have been pinning Trump down with a political ankle monitor. The criminal brought with him his co-conspirators, old men in black. Punchy Bobby De Niro, wearing a mask, still trying to slow the spread of populism, and the two Capitol Police officers who played starring roles in the January 6th hearing, had book deals, CNN gigs, and even ran for Congress. Usually when criminals return to a crime scene, they do it for the sick thrill. But the Biden campaign just came to confess.
We're not here today because of what's going on over there. We're here today because you all are here. We're here primarily because of the threat that Donald Trump poses to the United States of America and to our democracy. The contrast here pretty much writes itself. As we speak, Donald Trump somewhere fighting for himself, maybe taking a power nap.
That's the Biden campaign spokesman admitting the trial is about the Democrats stopping Trump. After a year of insisting that Biden had nothing to do with prosecuting Trump, the Biden campaign holds a press conference at the steps of the courthouse where Trump's being prosecuted. Why? Well, because they say they had to go where the press was to get their word out. What are they talking about? The press stands outside the Oval Office every day. They follow Biden on Air Force One wherever he goes. He had to go looking for them in lower Manhattan, where it just so happens Trump's on trial. You can't campaign outside of a courthouse that your party's prosecuting your opponent in. The most powerful man in the world sent an actor who plays a mob boss to intimidate the jury before deliberations. Watch.
The Twin Towers fell just over here, just over there. This part of the city was like a ghost town. But we vowed we would not allow terrorists to change our way of life. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave.
Biden made an actor read a script in lower Manhattan saying his opponent is worse than 9/11. And then the actor slipped and went off script and admitted he's trying to scare you. In politics, you can't admit you're trying to scare voters. It's not the movies. But watch what happens when there is no script.
What's your response to Republicans who say you're running on January 6th because you can't run on Biden's record?
I'd say that's absolutely absurd.
Do you consider Trump a threat to all the wars Biden has gotten us into?
Any immediate questions?
Is this a weaponization of the Justice Department, sir?
Any immediate questions?
You won't answer the real question.
That's what happens when Team Biden can't pre-select questions from toadies. Got even more embarrassing when a carjacker set off an alarm. The kind of crime Bragg doesn't prosecute, and it drowned out De Niro.
These guys are the true heroes. They stood and put their lives on the line for these lowlives, for Trump.
They lied under oath.
They lied under oath. Who lied under oath? What are you telling me?
Those two traitors.
Excuse me?
Those two traitors behind you.
They lied under oath?
That's right.
What are you saying?
They're traitors.
They're traitors. I don't know, I don't even know how to deal with you, my friend. I don't even know how to deal with you.
De Niro thought it was just going to be like one of those movie red carpet premieres where everybody kisses up. But at the slightest challenge, The man couldn't keep his emotions in check.
You are gangsters. You are gangsters. You're filthy. You're nobody. You're trash. You're done. You're done after this, my guy. Mook, M-O-O-K. Mook.
New Yorkers see it for what it is, a political prosecution. It's what the Trump teams have been saying all along.
But the fact that they are holding a rally across the sea from this very witch hunt right across the street tells us exactly what we all knew all along, that it is a political persecution.
So the Biden folks have finally done it. After months of saying the politics had nothing to do with this trial, they showed up and made a campaign event out of a Lower Manhattan trial day for President Trump. And the best that Biden can do is roll out a washed-up actor.
The Rock, Patrick Mahomes, Cardi B, lots of celebrities who endorsed Biden last time, refusing to run it back. So they recycled Punchy Bobby. Behind the scenes, Politico reports that Biden's hoping to seize on the Trump verdict by making an address to the nation from the White House. And on the campaign trail, will begin calling Trump a convicted felon. It's almost like they know the outcome. Biden's political strategy is identical to Bragg's legal strategy. Both men campaigned on stopping Trump, and both are now doing it in court, inside the courthouse and outside. And they're both using the same actors, porn stars, and despicable lawyers. Fox News legal editor Harrier Bond is here. So you were in the courthouse, you were outside where the action was. Do you, as a witness to that, think that they pulled it off?
So here's what it was like. We were sitting there, the energy was, I think, higher than it normally is. You know, we're sitting in the media bullpen, we're looking across the street at all of these Trump supporters. They're in a good mood, they start blasting music, the police tell them to stop, but you know, generally happy, upbeat. And then suddenly we get a notification in our email. The Biden campaign is one, going to have a press conference, but two, there's a special guest.
Ooh.
Right. So now we're thinking, ooh, who's the special guest? I thought maybe Eugene Carroll, Michael Cohen. You know, it's been a convention of characters down there. And then Robert De Niro,
Punchy Bobby,
walked onto the sidewalk, and I'll tell you what, he started off on a pretty, let's see, frustrating note to the Trump supporters across the street, because he immediately turned to all of the people who had been supporting Trump and are just kind of happily going along and saying, they're crazy, this support's crazy, Trump should stop them from doing this, should stop people from supporting him.
Okay.
And so they all flock to the podium, and then everything you saw after that is what happened.
So we had some Let's Go Brandon chants in there.
Right.
You had a car alarm. You had some questions, which I don't think the Biden spokesperson was ready for. It doesn't look like they planned this very well to send Robert De Niro, I don't know how old he is, but he's a hot mess. He has Trump derangement syndrome, into the belly of the beast. Why do you think the Biden campaign thought that was a good idea after spending the whole year distancing themselves politically from the trial?
Because they were desperate, because Biden had a bad news cycle in the last few days. It's a bad headline from Politico saying that Democrats are in full freakout mode. So what I was thinking, if I'm a comms person on that campaign team, what you want to do is figure out what is the shiny object we can dangle over here that everyone will go running towards. And I mean, think about it. You and I are talking about this right now.
Dangled De Niro.
And so, but here's the thing. I think it ended up backfiring because he's calling people crazy as he's coming off as unhinged. And then they all flock to the back of his press conference because now they're very angry that he called them crazy at the very beginning. And they're screaming the entire time, which completely defeated the purpose of what he was doing.
So, big day tomorrow. We will get jury instructions, you believe,
Yes.
and then any day now?
Yeah, so the judge said that jury instructions would take about an hour, and then it depends on how long the jury decides to deliberate. Now, if I'm the jury, though, at this point, I want to be done with this. The fact that the prosecution dragged this out until 8 o'clock tonight, they've got to be thinking, get me out of here.
Because they've had how long off? They've had 6 days, plus a Memorial Day.
Right.
So they're a little woozy, like some of us.
And also it's been hanging over their head. They probably
Right.
want to get back to their normal lives at this point instead of listening for the 100th time what Michael Cohen lied about 3 years ago.
So you're predicting carrier bomb. We could get a verdict tomorrow?
I would like to think we are. I don't know that that's going to happen. It depends on how long it takes.
So Thursday.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, we'll see. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thank you.
So closing arguments are done, and we still don't know what the crime of the trial of the century is. Even CNN says Bragg fell short.
You think, after listening to all of this, you think they fell short? How?
They fell way short because let's start with reasonable doubt. There is reasonable doubt all over this case. Where is Keith Schiller? Where is Alan Weisselberg? How did Michael Cohen get away with stealing $30,000? Hold a pity party for him. Made $4 million on this. Thought he'd be chief of staff. He's a fixer. Stormy Daniels. Let's hold a pity party for her. It's everywhere.
Trump legal spokesperson Alina Habba joins me now. Alina, so you were there. Closing arguments. Todd Blanche, Trump's defense counsel, went first. And that gets the prosecution, what, did 5 hours?
Right. That's what you have to do when you haven't proven your case in trial. You plan that you have this great big break, and then you come up and you say, oh, guess what? I get to go do an argument, and in my entire argument, guess what, everybody? They don't get to rebut anything I say. So they took 4 hours to tell their story. I actually had to leave. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was insane.
You need a bathroom break. Very, very long closer.
Yeah, but
what was the point? Did they have a crime at the end of this?
No.
No, still they haven't named the crime.
They could not give us any evidence. It was a lot of noise, and that's what we keep seeing, Jesse. There was not one bit of evidence that showed that Donald Trump had an intent to commit any crime. And I'm still, as I sit here as an attorney, trying to understand how they could have possibly brought this at this point, wasted this much taxpayer dollars, passed the statute of limitations, and then had the audacity to make a jury sit there until 8 o'clock with a bunch of nonsense and shiny balls, as she just said, because that's all they've got. They've got no facts.
So we're hearing from inside the court, and you can confirm this, every time defense raised an objection, overruled. Judge overrules every objection from the defense and sustains every objection from the prosecution.
Yeah, I can't relate to that at all. It's unbelievable. I mean, you've seen it, and the way that the visceral reaction that this judge had when we had our one witness come up and he threw the press out, that kind of anger, that kind of TDS, frankly, we saw it with Niro today. But that is what we're challenged with. We're dealing with people that are either going to believe a story. It was like sitting in make-believe land with the prosecution today, or you're going to listen to the facts. And the facts took us an hour and a half to break down. There were none. And you've got a person that is a complete liar that you're relying on. It was pretty simple for us. It took them a very long time to try and bob, weave, and make up stories.
You were there in the courtroom for almost every single day. You laid your eyes on the jury.
Yeah.
They're going to start deliberating tomorrow. I know we don't like to make predictions about this. You saw them absorb the closer this evening.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get a result Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What are you feeling?
I don't feel like, first of all, we can call it a closer when it was 5 hours. It was more like a long movie that wouldn't end. But
right.
No, I think that, honestly, if they do the right thing, and considering that we're in New York, I think we should get a hung jury. But like any hung jury, the judge is going to give them an Allen charge. He's going to tell you to go back, restudy everything. You're the jury that can do this. So maybe 3 days max. I mean, I'd hope so. It, to me, should be an acquittal.
Right.
But I'm not a New York liberal person sitting.
Thank God you're not. All right. Well, maybe by the end of the week we could get some sort of verdict. Thank you so much, Alina Habba.
Thank you.